अभी तो इतना ही हुआ. Then you dig more. Acha, what is happening inside the initiate transaction? F3. Okay. यहाँ पे तो कुछ भलता ही कांड चल रहा है. You are creating some transaction request response object. Fine. Again, builder design pattern. Immediately it should crack to you. Okay. It is a Lombard provided builder. Now, when so much of builder is happening, immediately you should get curiosity. Go to internet. Why use a builder design pattern for object creation? Yes, it is an individual developer choice. You can simply create it like new object and all of that. But the point is, if this is a builder pattern is one of a good pattern for creating Java objects. You can speak about it, okay, how you use builder patterns in your code, read about it on internet, and you will be able to confidently talk it during interview also. Okay, for object creation, we want to use a nice defined design pattern, and builder is properly used for creation of objects. Why it works, how you used it, and then in the code it's all there. And then you can create your full request structure. Okay, now just try to understand kya ho raha hai. Let's not try to dig more here, but you created it. Next, initiate transaction is actually going to make an HTTP call to somebody for initiation. This is what you should understand. What it is doing, it created, now yesterday we understood microservices will use HTTP REST wala, and we are passing JSON in and out. So what are we doing? We again created here JSON. This request object which you created, we are converting it into a JSON object, JSON.toJSON. We build it into a request. Again, we created what? HTTP request as a builder pattern. We are creating a HTTP request object. And to that, we are calling like setting some values, URL, request, and the method. Fine. You're trying to make an API call, so you are getting prepared. The validation service needs to talk to the next service via HTTP API call. You're preparing for that. So in the code, we have created a Java request as the object, from CPT payments, HTTP, Java request. We want this as part of that. You are creating that using a builder pattern here. And then this request, you're giving it to your another HTTP REST template engine, which is also your custom class. And then that guy is actually executing it. Now, all of a sudden, curiosity should come. Which class it is calling? It goes here. The URL is initiate payment URL. Do F3 is defined as part of this property. Now, by this way, you can understand validation service is going to talk to the next service, and that next service path is defined here. Copy, Control H, paste, search. Expand so that you can find all. This project is a mock project. Here you get, and here you can see it is calling some API like this. A service which is running on port 8082 and having payments and payment status. Now, all of a sudden, you should know which service is running on 8082. Okay, so generally, here maybe directly domain names will be used. Right now, it's localhost, but ideally here maybe domain names will be used for using it. If not in the local wala file, maybe in the dev environment property file, the endpoint ka domain name will be there. So you can even understand which service it is trying to call. But the thing is, now you have to investigate, oh, what is running on 8082? How you can find that? Application dot property. So ideally, yes, here is that port. You need to understand, okay, it is calling /payments/status of 8082, which is processing service. Nice. Now, how do you want to see which method it is calling? Similarly, go expand controller. There are two controllers, fine. We said yesterday notification handling will also be there, but now payment controller, just try to logically go, okay? /payments, yeah, /payments. So it is falling on this controller. Next, what is the method? /status. Maybe you can simply go here. Now, /status is called, we are just calling this call hierarchy. It's called from this place. So this is the method. That means that API call which validation service is going to do is going to fall on this method. यहाँ से फिर flow delegate हो जाता है. From one service you go into searching into another service, and then what this service is doing, and then you have to understand why these services are doing what they are doing. यहाँ पे जाके अभी database के अंदर जा रहा है. Okay, control T. There is again interfaces, classes. There, that transaction object which you created there as a JSON is coming here, and then there is logic. Let's not go here, but let's come back to our HTTP call where we were making. Later on, you can explore through this service. It's a different territory. There you found that how it is going to go to the next service. When you dig down into more on finding the code. Next, this init payment URL. We build up a HTTP request object where this full request structure, you created it, converted it into JSON, you created a request object, and then you gave it to your HTTP engine for calling it. Next, if there is any problem in processing, you simply return back saying internal server error, failed to process it, nothing will go forward. But if it is processed successfully, okay, then it goes, it converts it back to from JSON response, it converts it back to a proper object and then returns it back. Now let's get inside execute method. What is the logic? That is what is like clean separation we did. Okay, so your actual flow need not even know, okay, what is the logic for calling this HTTP. You created only the request, gave the object to him, and that is where it is responsibility of this engine to make the HTTP call, what it is doing. Okay, just see where the HTTP call goes. First taken this. There is a Spring defined REST template. ORG Spring framework, blah, blah, blah. There is a Spring defined REST template. You create an object of that. Just highlight, you will know how to navigate through code. You create an object of that. You call an exchange method on this. On the URL which is coming, the URL is the same URL which we searched. The method is, okay, prepare HTTP method. You're just trying to see what is the method. Okay, so now there is like, okay, based upon what method you are trying to inject, right, HTTP method here. It is again defined in the Spring environment. So it is all the data is coming in. You're preparing, okay, what method should be called? What should be the request? Request, you're trying to get it from the HTTP, just like this. You choose here, you see here request. This request is coming from where? Incoming HTTP request. We already converted it into JSON. And headers, where are the headers coming? You have set up your own custom headers here. So headers are taken, JSON body is taken. You create a request of HTTP. And if you see this HTTP entity is of HTTP like Spring framework, then you call it here. You actually then call exchange. If you want to know what is the Spring.class, it just exchange pe le lo. It talks about URI variable. So basically you're just saying it's string in the end. Okay, fine. And then you actually make that exchange call. If you don't know how to do this, simply go to ChatGPT, making, okay, HTTP call in Spring Boot application. That's it. It will give you code of how to make that call. There will be some classes, some way of doing it like that. You can completely put that here, and then the HTTP call is going to go. If there is any failure, you're logging all that, you're returning a null in that case. If it is success, it is success. And then this comes back. I'm doing a call hierarchy back on this execute. ये सब समझना पड़ेगा. Because without understanding how the code works, you cannot debug the applications. You need to know why, what is happening, how things are happening. Then you will get a stronger grip. What we called this method, initiate transaction, called that. Where was this method called from? It was called from this validate method. Abhi next process hone wala hai. Now you need to then meanwhile see what is this initiate